Ladies and gentlemen, we are here on a very cloudy day here at the Pocono Raceway for the running of our 12th McDonald's Cup Series event. It is the Axalta 400. After this race will be 11 races left to go in the season. And not only that, this is our last race before we take our 3-week break until June 28th at the Nashville Superspeedway. So these drivers are definitely going to have a lot of time to to just relax and take a break, maybe go race in other series. So this is also going to be pretty interesting as well because we are still in the midst of our summer shootout, and we just wrapped up our first one at the Charlotte Motor Speedway this past Saturday night. Just in case if you weren't with us, we only had one caution in that event, and pit strategy definitely was all over the place. And at the end of it all, it was Sebastian Palmer finally nabbing the redemption that he had been seeking for so long since the clash at the very beginning of the year. He went on to take the checkered flag after, I believe it was a third round of green flag pit stops that secured him the lead, and did not look back from there after that 200 lapper at Charlotte Motor Speedway. Let's go ahead and take a look at your point standings heading into today's race. As you can see there, John Andrews no longer the points leader. After Charlotte, we have Edson Hernandez, who's now jumped up to the top spot with 292 points in his bank account. John Andrews, of course, 275 in his pocket, with Val Mosco 263. The highest running driver that is yet to score a win this year, Will Parrish. Basically kind of swimming in a big pond. Basically just a small fish in a big old ocean, let's say, of winners. Of course, the highest running driver that has yet to score a win, with 251 points in his pocket. Alex Savatali, our Martinsville winner, with 241. Rogel Dorn, our Kansas winner, with 239. And then 236 for Kyler Sustry. DK Wood, 229. Matthew Hubert with 227. And then Wyatt Walker, who shows up inside of the top 10 for the first time this season, he has 222 points to his name. Let's go ahead and take a look at the rest of your point standings coming into this event. There you see Sebastian Palmer. He was very, very deep in the points, but thanks to those bonus points that that he's been getting, of course, with the summer shootout, the points that you can earn for these races are pretty much doubled. So you get 5 bonus points for leading a lap, 10 bonus points for leading the most laps, 20 for winning the race. So this really helped Palmer get out of that bottom top 35, well, below top 35, and put himself at least in the 30th position when it comes down to his win at Charlotte and how many laps he's been able to lead. And not only that, just mostly for him just to win the race, of course. So of course, it is going to be very interesting to see how Sebastian Palmer is going to perform in this race. It's 56 laps of action here at the Pocono Raceway. It's just going to be interesting altogether to see how this race is going to go, especially with our cloud conditions. And this is the first time that we're actually dealing with that this year. As you take a look at your starting lineup, there's Tyler Belladonna starting on the pole position. Colin Block lining up alongside. Then we have Terry Walker, Daniel Adams. That is row number 2. Row 3 sees Matthew Hubert and B.B. Hange, with Chad Gronkowski and Casey Wells making up row 4. Mitchell O'Brien starting 9th, and Jeremiah Simpson completing the top 10. There's Wyatt Walker. I was about to bring him up by accident, but he's starting in the 11th position in car number 99. So it should be interesting to see if Wyatt's going to be able to possibly move his way, possibly get a little bit closer to the front of the field, maybe via pit strategy, maybe via possibly having himself a good car at the very beginning. We'll see what happens. But there you see the rest of your starting lineup. Of course, Walker, Floyd, Sammy Cars, Alex Savatali, Michael DeFeo, Ava Murray, Tatiana Noguera. There's also Zachary Fitzwater, Michael Young, Alex Rampus. That is your top 20. Then Skylar Taylor, Nathan Stapleton, PJ Vidal, Dale Johnson II, Sebastian Palmer, our winner from last weekend. Then we have Stephen Cologne, Nia Steidel, former points leader John Andrews, Damian Kyle Wood, Derek Hamill. That is your top 30 before we get on down to the rest of our starters. There's Ryan Durrani, John Felber, Val Mosco, Will Parrish, Roberto Crown Jr., Kyler Sustrai, Edson Hernandez, after taking the points lead, is going to be starting all the way towards the rear of the field. This is definitely not how you want to start off your tenure as the points leader. You have a very poor qualifying run and have to start towards the back. 37th position. So he's going to have his work cut out for him if he's going to start moving his way to the front of the field. We've got Josh Lee, Matt Jones, Travis Crampton, that's your top 40. And then our provisional starters. Bryce Egan starting 41st, and then 42nd, Rogel Dorn. So, as I mentioned, this is the first time this year that we are dealing with the cloud cover, so it is going to be very interesting as to what the racing is going to look like, especially for 56 laps. Nobody really knows what's going to happen, but it's going to make for some really, really good racing. Glad that you could be with us here tonight here at the Pocono Raceway. 12th race of the season, 11 to go after today. Drivers are strapped into the cars. Pre-race ceremonies are just wrapped up. But in order to get these 42 behemoths rolling out on the track, we got to get the command to fire the engines. So let's go trackside to get the command.
Drivers, start your engines!
Engines are fired. Pace car rolls off. So do these 42 competitors. Heading up onto this very distinct racetrack. They take to the banking. This racetrack pretty much known for its obviously its very unique triangular shape and all the turns that are pretty much different from one another as far as the banking. Turn 1, Trenton. Turn 1 from what I've heard is Trenton. Turn 2, Indianapolis. Turn 3, the Milwaukee Mile. Also going to be another thing to watch out for, of course, within these 56 laps is fuel strategy and how far these drivers can go on a tank of gas. So for these drivers, they're really going to have to keep an eye on their fuel gauge. For if they run out of fuel right on the front straightaway, it is a long way around to come. It is a long way to. It's pretty much going to take you a while to get all the way back around to try to get back into the pits and possibly try to get pit service done. But the chances of that happening, as far as making it to the pits is concerned, basically just barely running on fumes is very slim to none. Especially if you're going down the Long Pond straightaway and you run out of gas over there. You might have a better chance of possibly making it back to the pits if you run out of gas at least halfway down the Long Pond straightaway. So it's going to be very interesting to see what's going to be happening here in these 56 laps. They come off of what? Turn 4. There is no turn 4 here. It's only 3 turns. They come off the third corner. Pace car is off. Tyler Belladonna and Colin Block will lead the field down to the green flag to get this thing started. We're racing in Pocono. Good start for Belladonna. He checks out with the lead. Colin Block around the outside. It looks like he's going to retain the second position. BB Hange is going to move up to third. And then we have ourselves a dogfight for fourth. That's Daniel Adams being attacked by Casey Wells right around that outside line. It looks like Wells is going to get it because you saw there Daniel Adams really had to get out of the gas there because he went a little bit too deep heading into turn number 3. So that's gonna be something that we're gonna also have to watch all race long, because especially going through turn 1, the outside line gets such a run, especially on corner exit, because if you get too deep heading into the first corner or even deep into any corner really, these cars, these cars are very, very unforgiving on the bottom, especially when it comes down to handling. Really, this track is unforgiving when you're on the bottom line because there's no grip down there. All that grip is in that second line that all these drivers take. So passing is going to be very, very crucial, especially when you rock that outside line. Right out of the gate, looks like top 10 is all gone single file, at least for the moment. Tyler Belladonna has led the opening 2 laps, and then you get back over here. Look at this hornet's nest. They are almost 4 wide from this shot right here, heading into the first corner. Derek Hamill was all the way down, what looked like right up against the wall, but managed to get his car right back in line, and looks like he's going to try to tuck right in where he is. You see John Felber in that 16 diving to the inside of the 47. Not sure how beneficial that's going to be as they head through turn number 2. Not too beneficial right there. You just saw it there. Derek Campbell gets himself such a launch off of Felber right up to the back of John Andrews. And Andrews even then also just gets too deep. He has to check up. Look at the 21, Tatiana Noguera. Trying to get some positions here as they head on back into turn number 1. Tatiana Noguera ended up winning Texas a few months back. John Andrews won at Bristol. So as of right now, you can kind of see the racing is sort of working. It's kind of getting weeded out a little bit. All these drivers looks like they're going to try to go single file at least for now, until we get on down to green flag pit stops, or maybe if another caution comes out, well, not another caution, but if our first caution comes out. So it's definitely going to be something to watch. The big trouble spot, of course, another thing to look out for is the tunnel turn. The tunnel turn is definitely known to be one of the biggest trouble spots in the history of NR 2003 at Pocono. Basically, NR 2003 Pocono, really, to be specific. Turn 2 has always been a massive trouble spot for these drivers. Whether if you're running this race on 103 difficulty, 104, you know, these drivers always, for whatever reason, they get into turn 2 way too deep, and sometimes they wash up the track and end up colliding into other cars, and it could just cause an absolute melee on the exit of the tunnel turn onto the short straight and heading into turn number 3. So they're gonna have to be very careful. And so far, 4 laps in, coming around to complete 5 laps. So far, they've done an absolutely amazing job of just keeping everything together, keeping it clean and green. Until you get down the front straightaway, just look at this. Almost 4 abreast heading back into turn number 1. They are 3 wide. That's a 5-6 car Hornet's nest. 5 of those cars are yellow. 6-7 of them are yellow. That's Zachary Fitzwater in the 9. Rampus 32. 20 Simpson. 40 DeFeo. 27 Johnson. And the number 3 of Mitchell O'Brien. And that's definitely not something you want to see there. Jeremiah Simpson, you just barely saw it. Got down towards the apron. The beneficial thing about getting down to the apron is that back in the day, there used to be curbing right where those drivers would run on that yellow line. There's no curbing there anymore. The curbing would just mess everybody up. But thankfully, Pocono Raceway has removed that, and everything has been good ever since. So 6 laps complete, working lap number 7 this time around. Coming around to complete lap 7 next time by. Coming around this time to complete lap 7. I don't even know what I'm saying at this point. But your top 10 running order goes as follows here early in the going. Of course, Tyler Belladonna, the leader. Colin Block in second. BB Haynes sitting in third. Terry Walker fourth, currently having the best run that he's had ever since Phoenix. Currently sitting in that 4th spot. Then running in 5th, right behind him, that's Avon Murray. Then 6th is Casey Wells, coming off of a runner-up finish at the Coca-Cola 600 last Saturday. Daniel Adams having another great run. He's 7th. Our Talladega winner, Chad Gronkowski, 8th. Savatelli, 9th. Wyatt Walker completing the top 10 in the 99 machine. But so far, we have all been pretty clean and green, and everybody has kind of been minding their own P's and Q's until you get back over here. Noguera and Felber and Andrews and Taylor continuing to fight it out for position. You also have our race winner from last Saturday night, Sebastian Palmer, in that mix. Palmer's also trying to move his way up through the field, but obviously early in the going when everybody's trying to go single file and everybody's also trying to use that bottom to their advantage, you're not really getting anywhere when it comes down to that. So for these drivers, they're just going to have to really take it easy. They're going to have to just really mind that the bottom is typically not the preferred way around unless if you can actually make it stick down there. Just remember that outside line, especially on corner exit of turn 1, you just get such a launch, and that is exactly what we just saw there with Josh Lee. 3 wide heading into the tunnel turn, that could spell a lot of trouble. As you see PJ Vidal get down on towards the apron, left sides went down below that yellow line. Remember, there's no out of bounds at tracks like these. It's just Daytona and Talladega where the out of bounds rule basically is at. But so far, these drivers have actually been doing a pretty nice job. For at least 9 laps complete, everybody is just doing a nice job, just taking it easy, not racing too hard. Try to nab as many spots as you possibly can in the early going, and just kind of ride for as long as you can, and try to get the car to the first round of green flag stops. And I don't know about Kyler Sustry, but Sustry is really wanting some positions here, but here's the problem. He gets down below that yellow line, and he's going to lose a little bit of grip and a little bit of time at the same, all in one go. Nia Steidl back here. Remember, she came into this race just outside of the top 10 in the point standings. After having herself a couple good runs at Talladega and Darlington, an unfortunate abysmal run at Kansas. Charlotte, I'd say, was pretty solid last Saturday, but coming into this race, currently running now dead last. Definitely not something that Nia Steidl would want, especially in her first run at Pocono. Meanwhile, focusing back up towards the front of the field, battle for 5th is on. You got Casey Wells around the outside of the number 30 of Avon Murray. Looks like she's going to get that position by a landslide as Murray ended up just driving his car down below that yellow line heading through turn 3. And look at this little hornet's nest over here. That's Salvatali down on the bottom. Adams up top. They're also 3 wide hanging into turn 1. That's Nathan Stapleton on the bottom. Wyatt Walker in the middle. Bob Floyd up top. And obviously, Stapleton did get the bad end of that stick because he was the one on the bottom. You would have thought that both him and Walker would have gotten the bad end of the stick, but that is not the case. Of course, Walker, I believe he might have fallen outside of the top 10 here. Actually, he did, but not for much longer. He's going to take that 10th spot back from Bob Floyd, who definitely messes up through turn 3. That might open up the door for Zachary Fitzwater to drive to the outside, and it does. So Fitzy's going to pull up alongside and take that 11th position away. Zachary Fitzwater is another driver who I feel is very, very deserving of a fantastic run here today. He comes into this race, I'd probably say somewhere inside of the top 20, maybe top 25 of the point standings. I would know if I had my points right in front of me. But Fitzy has just not had himself the most solid of seasons, and right now here today at Pocono, he is definitely 100% turning that around. Currently running in the 12th spot, doing a very nice job keeping that car in one piece. He's had himself some good qualifying runs, but good starting spots in qualifying, I meant to say, but unfortunately, he just hasn't really been able to back up those good finishes. So basically back up those runs, those good qualifying runs with good finishes. He just hasn't been able to do it. But here today at Pocono Raceway, doing a very nice job sitting in that 11th spot, just knocking on the door of the top 10. And everybody definitely taking advantage of that outside. You just saw there in that shot, Terry Walker, BB Haynes fighting for that 3rd spot. And Walker is going to get it over Haynes. So kick the 95 back to the 4th position. And that may, just may, if Wells pulls up alongside the number of 95, it could potentially come around the outside line, as we are now a third of the way done here at the Pocono Raceway for the running of the Axalta 400. If you're just tuning in, so far Tyler Belladonna has led every single lap since the drop of the green flag, and everybody has pretty much settled into a single file rhythm, at least for now. Everybody has definitely been pretty much guaranteeing themselves that the best way to pass another driver is definitely going to be on the outside, especially in corner exit of these turns. So it's going to be pretty interesting once the first round of green flag pit stops does come around. I believe we're going to have at least one stop. Coming out of turn 3. Heading back down this very long straightaway that is wide enough for at least 20 wide. Yes, that is an exaggeration. And everybody has basically calmed down into a single file formation. We'll just have to wait until we get to our first round of green flag stops just to really see what happens. But as of right now, it looks like everybody's doing a pretty nice job. Pretty nice job of actually just, again, taking care of their stuff, getting everything to the first round of green flag stops. And so far, a lot of drivers, some of these drivers that are inside of the top 10, are in very, very bad need of good points runs. So Colin Block is one of them for sure. Block came into this race pretty deep in the point standings, and if he actually finishes second, I think he's gonna definitely get his best finish of the year with a runner-up spot. It just depends on how the rest of this race goes, but that actually would be very beneficial for this 98 team. Same goes for Terry Walker. Walker got the season off to a pretty good start. However, just hasn't really been able to capitalize on a good start off to the season. But here today at Pocono, got himself a good qualifying run. He's definitely going to try to take that 2nd position away, but he's going to be on the bottom side. Heading into turn number 1, he's going to think twice of that. His BB Haynes is now going to try to take 4th, or try to take 3rd back, but not going to be the case. But Walker's another driver that's going to need a really good points day. Daniel Adams definitely had himself a good one last Saturday, but is definitely going to need another good points day if he wants to continue to move his way up through the field and move his way up through the point standings. Same goes for the 7 of Casey Wells. Meanwhile, battle for 3rd is on. BB Haynes around the outside, taking that 3rd spot back the exact same way that Terry Walker managed to wrestle it away. But he's going to definitely, but just as soon as that fight starts, pit stops are now happening. Everybody with the exception of Simpson, Cars, Lee, and Moscow have all pitted. All of them, except for those 4 cars, are now making their first round of green flag pit stops. This is just like making a pit stop under the caution, but except you're making a pit stop under the green. But the good thing about this is everybody's pretty much pitting at the same time, so you're not really losing a whole lot. Race off pit road, obviously, Tyler Belladonna is going to get that. Top 3 come out the same. Casey Wells comes out 4th with Terry Walker, who's going to come out 5th. Adams will come out 6th. Murray 7th. Gronkowski 8th. Sabatali 9th. And Zachary Fitzwater comes out 10th. And there's the next 4 cars that are now in the pits. So these 4 cars now are going to complete the first round of green flag pit stops here on lap 20. Just 8 laps away from that halfway mark. Looks like everybody's also going to be pretty mildly spread out. But I wouldn't expect these drivers to kind of stay as spread out as they are for a very long amount of time, because eventually at some point the top 3 are going to get grouped back up together. Everybody else back behind pretty much close to one another. I think eventually they are going to group back up together and start making passes at one another. But as far as the next of these 4 cars that ended up coming in and pitting, I think they're going to probably merge right in with everybody else on where exactly they're currently running on the racetrack. So I believe Simpson might get up inside of the top 10, maybe along with Sammy Cars. I'm not 100% certain on that. I'm not 100% certain on that. So we'll see once we cross the stripe. This time by, I'm going to need some water. So yeah, the 20 of Jeremiah Simpson is 9th. Savitali completes the top 10 as the fight for 9th place is on. But Simpson taking advantage of that outside. He's going to nab it, and here comes Sammy Cars around the outside, followed by Josh Lee. So Savitali definitely pretty slow on that block. He's going to lose 2 more positions, so he'll get kicked back to 12th. Maybe 3 more positions if Fitzy can get up there. No, he's going to go all the way down to the bottom. But that might be a mistake. Definitely going to need some water, so you're not going to miss too much, but we're going to be focusing on the leaders as we are just at least 6 laps till halfway here at the Pocono Raceway for the Axalta 400. I'll be right back. I'm going to go ahead and get some water. "23 laps complete." Of course, you didn't really miss too much other than the top 3 pretty much grouping back up where they were before. And it's pretty much just been, I feel like it's been a dogfight, at least for that 9th, 10th position. But Savitali looks like he has definitely had himself some trouble, because he went from 9th to 12th to 14th within the span of the next last few laps, and looks like Savitali's definitely in trouble. He's lost 2 more positions. He's gone all the way back to 16th place. That is definitely not something that you want to see especially if you're somebody like Alex Savatali, who's definitely been trying to get himself some more good runs, try to stay inside of the top 10 in the standings. Been having himself a really, really solid first season in the McDonald's Cup Series, and I wouldn't say 16th place isn't gonna hurt your chances of staying inside of the top 10, but it's not gonna take you out of the top 10, but it'll sure keep you there. You might lose maybe 1 or 2 spots, but I don't think it should be all that bad. But 25 laps complete. Pretty much everybody riding exactly where they are. Then you have Chad Gronkowski pretty much just riding all by his lonesome, just kind of comfortably sitting in the 8th position, really just buying his time until we get to the next round of green flag stops, which will be coming up here very, very soon. But right now, he's just chilling in that 8th spot, just all by himself, no traffic around him. He's got a decent amount of clean air until you get over to at least the 10th place car, or really, excuse me, the 7th place car of Avon Murray, who's currently trailing the 55 of Daniel Adams. And then you get back over here. This is where the rest of the pack is. Pretty much everybody is just single file. Josh Lee trying to get that 10th position away from Sammy Cars hasn't been able to succeed in that, as he's just been going down to the bottom and trying to make that bottom work, but hasn't really had any sort of luck in doing that. So we're almost halfway, almost on that halfway lap at the Pocono Raceway for the running of the Axalta 400. Our 12th race on the McDonald's Cup Series season, and last one before we take our 3-week break. And then return towards the end of June at the Nashville Super Speedway. And after today, of course, as far as how many races we'll have left in the season, we'll have 11 races to go here in the 2024 McDonald's Cup Series season. But as of right now, sorry, I'm texting. But as of right now, pretty much still got some time in the season, but it's running out, and especially if you're deep in the point standings and you're trying to get back up and trying to get yourself in a good spot to try to score some really good points, you definitely got to go now and just definitely try to get ahead of the curve, because once Homestead Miami comes around, we'll definitely know for sure who will be fighting for the McDonald's Cup Series championship when that time rolls around in November. So these next 11 races coming up are going to be very interesting, especially going through the summer, heading into the fall. Once the racing season really picks up, the racing season is going to really start picking up in the fall once the championship season rolls around. So it's going to be a pretty interesting. These next 11 races are going to be very interesting to watch, especially since we're in the midst of the summer shootout, the second of 5 races currently. Tyler Belladonna obviously is going to collect the 5 bonus points for leading a lap, but also those 10 bonus points for leading the most laps here at the Pocono Raceway. I believe Jeremiah Simpson also led a lap, so he'll pick up the 5 bonus points. But undisputably, it has been Tyler Belladonna who has been dominating this entire event after starting on the pole position, trying to go for his second win in the McDonald's Cup Series, trying to break that streak of 11 different winners. That way it doesn't increase to 12 different winners. There's your water, Frex. I hope you heard that gulp. But 30 laps complete. We're coming around to complete lap 31. And we're just a good amount of laps away before our second round of green flag pit stops. And it looks like 4th through 7th, excuse me, are pretty much all grouped up side by side for the 5th spot. Obviously, Walker's going to retain because of that run on the outside line that he gets. Man, look at how much that really affected Daniel Adams. Adams really got out of the gas, and that really hurt. That obviously is going to hurt his momentum down the Long Pond straightaway, and especially heading into turn number 2. So give that 6th position over to Avon Murray. 2 birds with 1 stone here as he goes for 5th on Terry Walker. So put the number 30 machine of Avon Murray up inside of the top 5 with 32 laps complete. So 2 birds with 1 stone for the number 30 machine of Avon Murray. And you see here Walker and also Daniel Adams fighting it out for that 7th position, or for the 6th spot. That was really interesting. That was very, very interesting to see. But meanwhile, heading back through turn number 3, we're gonna complete lap number 33, so we'll be 23 laps of racing to go here at the Pocono Raceway. And Tyler Belladonna, other than 1 lap, has led every single lap since the drop of the green flag. Again, with the exception of 1 lap, but because of pit stops. So it's going to be interesting to see who's going to stay out to lead another, who's going to take another lap from Tyler Belladonna. It's not going to make too much of a difference because he's obviously going to pick up those 10 bonus points for leading the most laps. So it's not going to affect Belladonna too much. But top 3, I'm surprised of how they're all single file here and haven't really made a move to try to go for like BB Hange. Surprised he hasn't tried to make him pass for 2nd. And as far as Colin Block, I'm surprised he hasn't tried to make a pass for the lead. But as of right now, we might be getting ready for our next round of green flag stops. Maybe next time around, I'd say right around lap 36 to 39. That's the pit window that I'm probably going to give out. As we're heading on into 20 laps of racing to go next time by. Here at the Pocono Raceway, it has been caution-free. Ever since the drop of the green flag, we have been caution-free all the way up to this point. And this, obviously, and we might go from having the longest race of the season, we might go from having our longest race of the season last Saturday to probably having our quickest race of the season. Because typically races here at Pocono aren't usually the longest. When it comes down to usually the truck series. Truck series usually races at least 60 laps here, but so we decided to give it a go, and obviously, as you can definitely tell, time-wise, we're definitely going to get done with this race pretty quickly. But you see also, these drivers are really going at it for position. You saw Jeremiah Simpson, he got kicked out of the top 10 in a big way. Because he went from 9th to 11th position. So Gronkowski moves up. I think he got actually passed by Gronkowski. No, Josh Lee. He got passed by Josh Lee, then Zachary Fitzwater, who also moves up inside of the top 10. Wyatt Walker's currently sitting in the 13th position after being overtaken by Steven Colon, who now moves up into 12th. And here we go. Next round of green flag pit stops is now getting started. And everybody, Josh Lee, Jeremiah Simpson, Sammy Cars, Val Moscow, and now Skylar Taylor has joined those 4 cars that choose to stay out. Everybody else is in. Lee has led a lap, so now he gets those 5 bonus points for leading a lap. Lots of contact in the background between Roberto Crown Jr. It looks like Kyler Sustry, Nia Steidel making some contact with John Andrews. That's trying to get into her pit. Casey Wells, Matthew Huber getting together. That's gonna hurt Huber by a lot, especially with that contact. He's trying to get into his box. That's definitely gonna slow him down and have him lose some positions. But again, Tyler Belladonna jumps out with the lead. That is definitely the benefit of having the number 1 pit stall. You can definitely be the last guy. You can definitely be the last guy to come on in to your pit box, get service done, be the first one out. That is definitely the benefit of having that first pit stall when you start on the pole here for this event. Simpson leads another lap. So now he has led 2 laps in this event. But of course, obviously, he's already picked up those 5 bonus points, so it's not really going to matter how many other laps he's led. Because Tyler Belladonna has already clinched those 10 bonus points for leading the most laps here tonight at the Pocono Raceway. But coming around through turn number 3. Looks like our top 10 may look like this as our second round of green flag stops has just completed. They'll look like this, of course. We've got Tyler Belladonna continuing to dominate in this race, just putting on an absolute clinic. He's currently your race leader. Colin Block second. BB Haynes sitting in third. Then fourth is Casey Wells. Avon Murray completes the top 5 with Terry Walker 6th. Daniel Adams 7th. Chad Gronkowski 8th. 9th will be Josh Lee. And then completing your top 10, that is the 9 of Zachary Fitzwater. So pretty much our top 10 ever since our second round of green flag stops, they have not changed a single bit. So for this case, this is definitely going to be interesting what the last round of green flag stops is going to bring. Because the pit strategy is going to probably be all over the place. We probably have a vast majority of drivers that are going to try to stick it out and try to run the car all the way to the finish. Then again, we might have some other drivers come in, top off on fuel, and try to get out there and get as many points as you possibly can earn. But we still have at least 15. We've got 15 laps to go here in the Axalta 400. If you're just now tuning in, we are now 41 laps complete, 41 laps deep into this event, 15 to go. No cautions in this race. We have remained caution-free up to this point. And Tyler Belladonna has been the man of the hour. No pun intended when I say that. because this race most likely is going to last 1 hour. So he literally is the man of the hour right now. He has led a vast majority of this event. He has led all but 3 laps. As far as I'm aware, 3 laps. So he's already collected those 5 bonus points for leading a lap, 10 of those bonus points for leading the most laps. There's definitely one more chunk of points that he's definitely going to be looking for, and that's those 20 bonus points for winning the race. And currently, he is trying to nab his 2nd win of the season. And looks to be well on track to doing just that. He'll break the tie. He'll break the streak of winners at 11 if he is able to pull this off and become the first multi-time winner of the season. Heading back through turn number 3. The top 3 are pretty much all on top of each other. 4th and 5th on top of each other. 6th and 7th on top of each other. Then it's a 5-car fight here for, looks like that's for the 8th position. Wyatt Walker just trailing right there. You see Zachary Fitzwater. He's going to try to make a move on the 36 of Gronkowski to the inside. That's not going to work as Gronkowski uses that exit of turn 1 to his advantage. And it looks like Zachary Fitzwater is going to bite the dust on this one. How about this? I thought Cologne was going to try to make it 3 abreast heading into turn 1. Looks like he's going to try. And that almost not only cost him, but it almost cost Zachary Fitzwater in the process. And that would have ended his fantastic run that he's currently putting on here at Pocono. But now we're working lap 45 here in this race, so 12 laps to go. Here in the Axalta 400, our 12th race of the season, here at the Pocono Raceway. And so far, everybody has been minding their own P's and Q's. Everybody has pretty much played it smart here in this event. Nobody has gone out of the race. Nobody has wrecked out. No, we haven't had a single mechanical failure. Everybody has definitely been doing a very nice job just trying to maintaining the positions that they're in right now. But again, that question will arise once we get to that point. Are the final few laps going to hold? What is the future going to hold for some of these drivers? Because there's a good chance that some of them may not have fully topped off on that Sunoco gasoline. So definitely a very possible chance that we might see some pit strategy break out once we possibly get down to maybe three laps to go here in this event. Side by side for 9th. 3 wide heading through the tunnel turn. That's not going to help either Lee or Cologne, especially Stephen Cologne. Looks like he's going to lose that 11th position to Wyatt Walker heading into the 3rd corner. Jeremiah Simpson, he might jump out of line and head over with Walker. Not the case up until now. Here he comes. Down the front straightaway. Look at Travis Crampton in that number 22. Also having himself a really good run right now. Sitting in that 16th position. Heading back through turn 1. Looks like Simpson's going to get the position on Stephen Cologne. Now it's John Felber's turn to try to steal that 13th spot from Stephen Cologne. And he'll successfully do just that. We're inside of 10 to go as you see here. Now we're taking 9 laps of racing to go. Pretty much a lot of the action is right where we just saw, right over here in this top 10/top 15 area. This is where the big cluster of cars is at. Then we get the second cluster over here with Skylar Taylor. Looks like he's going to lose another position to Edson Hernandez, who actually had himself a little tiny, small improvement here in this race. Currently sitting in the 28th position. Remember, he started 37th in this race, and he comes into this event as our new points leader. So I'm not sure what the scale of things is going to look like, because I think it was a 17-point difference between Edson Hernandez and John Andrews. So the gap between those two is going to get ever so smaller, but we'll see what happens here as we leave here at Pocono Raceway, and whether or not if Edson Hernandez is going to be maintaining that points advantage once we take our break and come back at Nashville towards the end of June. So if you're watching this on YouTube, be sure to keep an eye on the standings. Be sure to keep an eye on the NRLOA Discord and the NRLOA and the McDonald's Cup Series channel when the race concludes. That is where you will be getting your points. Again, so next, we'll be off for the next 3 weeks, and then we'll come back at the Nashville Super Speedway to run our 13th race of the season. So that's definitely going to be a fun one. And after that race, will be 10 races left in the McDonald's Cup Series season. Definitely want to tune into that one. That will be, I think that's the 28th of June at, I believe, 8:30 p.m. Eastern time. Maybe 1 o'clock Eastern, if I remember correctly. And I think it was a Saturday, but you'll definitely, I believe that was the schedule. But coming around, focusing back in on this race, coming around to complete lap 50. There'll be 6 laps of racing to go here at the Pocono Raceway. Tyler Belladonna just putting on an absolute clinic in this event. Wyatt Walker has moved his way back inside of the top 10. Gonna have ourselves a fight for 4th on our hands, but it's gonna be not too much of a fight as you see Casey Wells definitely 100% using that outside line to her advantage, and she is definitely going to retain that 4th position. The good thing for Avon Murray is that if there were other cars around him, he would have lost that 5th position in a heartbeat to another driver. If Terry Walker was there, he would have lost that 5th position to Terry Walker. But as of right now, Murray doesn't have to worry too much about that. He can just sit in that 5th position and just ride. But 5 laps to go for Tyler Belladonna before he is well on his way, before being well on his way to his 2nd win of the season. And it looks like Colin Block's going to try to challenge for the race lead, but unsuccessful in doing just that. He's going to lose some ground, and that almost opened up the door for BB Haynes to drive around the outside. But now Haynes is going to drive to the inside of the 98. And when are you going to learn? That just doesn't work. If you saw and hurt Colin Block, that should have been a message that you shouldn't have tried it. But BB Haynes did, and he lost a lot of ground, but not as much as but he didn't lose. He lost a lot of ground, a little bit more than what Colin Block did, but it looks like Block may be just slightly reeling the 4 right back in with 4 laps to go here at the Pocono Raceway for the running of the Axalta 400. This is going to be a pretty interesting race. Obviously, BB Haynes might be out of contention unless if Block and Belladonna continue to race hard, race side by side. No matter which driver ends up getting hurt from running on the bottom line, this definitely is going to be pretty interesting to watch. Here they come, 3 laps to go. Block has reeled back in the 4 of Tyler Belladonna. But I'm not 100% sure if Colin Block's going to try to make the run on the outside line. We're just going to have to wait and see. They come off of turn number 1. Looks like BB Haynes is starting to pull himself right back into the mix of things. still in the shot, still in the frame, and doing a very nice job of just maintaining that third position. Coming around, this time by. There will be 2 laps of racing to go here at the Pocono Raceway. The popsicle sticks are up in the air. 2 laps to go. That is the wrong camera. For Tyler Belladonna. Meanwhile, let's go ahead and take a look back over here. There's a lot of action forming back over here. Coming on to turn number 3. It looks like Felber, Walker, Jeremiah Simpson, they're all fighting hard. They're all racing really hard. What looks to be for that 11th position. Zachary Fitzwater's back inside of the top 10. Same goes for Josh Lee. It looks like this is where a lot of that action is going to be. Here for these final moments here at the Pocono Raceway. Look at Travis Crampton going around the outside of Jeremiah Simpson, following right in the tire tracks of the 16 of John Felber, but focusing back up front, off turn 4, white flag in the wind for Tyler Belladonna, who is well on his way to nabbing his 2nd win of the season. Belladonna got himself off to a good start, winning at Phoenix towards the beginning of the year. That was the 2nd race of the season. He hadn't really done too well ever since, but he's done pretty solid. But he's coming back. Off of the short chute for the final time, heading into turn number 3. And just cruising his way through turn 4. The list of different winners is over. It ends with Tyler Belladonna nabbing his 2nd win of the season here at Pocono. And we have gone caution-free in this race. And obviously, this is the quickest McDonald's Cup Series race that we have run flag to flag. Without a yellow, nothing. Everybody also pretty much stayed on the racetrack, and pit strategy didn't affect anybody at all. So these drivers definitely did a very good job of just obviously taking it easy. They definitely also raced pretty well, I'd like to say. They raced pretty well. But of course, we basically ran this race with no yellows. It's all been caution free, no incidents. Nobody went out of the race, nobody went a lap down. So all in all, this was a very clean race here at the Pocono Raceway. Very clean and very flawless out of all these drivers. Of course, Tyler Belladonna standing tall for the 2nd time this season. He is your McDonald's Cup Series winner. And that 2nd win of the year comes at the Pocono Raceway. He pretty much put on a clinic this entire race. Colin Block, after starting 2nd, he'll finish 2nd. BB Hange will finish 3rd. Casey Wells 4th. Avon Murray 5th. Terry Walker, fantastic finish for him. First time since Phoenix that he's had. First time, I think, since Daytona. Actually, when we're talking about finishes, performance-wise, he did really well. I think that's the best performance that he's had since Phoenix. But either way, Terry's going to finish 6th. Daniel Adams 7th. Chad Gronkowski 8th. Zachary Fitzwater top 10 for him as he finishes 9th. And Josh Lee will round out your top 10. As you can see, from 11th through 28th, everybody finished on the lead lap. And then there is 29th on down to 42nd. Everybody pretty much just finished on the lead lap. Nobody went out of the race. Nobody smelled what the rock was cooking, so we have had ourselves a very perfect flag-to-flag event here at the Pocono Raceway. And time-wise, this was the quickest McDonald's Cup Series race we've ever run. We go from the longest race of the season to the quickest race of the season. Time-wise, the quickest race of the season. So, of course, congratulations to Tyler Belladonna on nabbing his second win of the season. Keep an eye on the Discord, the NRLOA Discord, for the point standings. Those will be coming your way very, very shortly. And next week, of course, I'd like to mention, as I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to look in that NRLOA Discord because that is where the schedule is. But next, we'll be off for quite some time. So next race will be at the Nashville Super Speedway for the running of the Ally 400. And that all goes down on the 29th of June at 1 o'clock Eastern. So we've got, for the McDonald's Cup Series, they've got a lot of time to just relax, just take a breather, maybe go race in other series and other special events. So these drivers are definitely going to have a lot of time to get them to keep themselves conditioned, or either that or to relax. And as well as once the time comes around, get ready for Nashville, because it is going to be a very interesting event once we get over there. That'll be the first time that we're running McDonald's Cup Series over at that racetrack. So that's going to be fun to watch. But as far as this race, hopefully, if for what it was a good one here at the Pocono Raceway. If you guys like this, be sure to give it a like. If you haven't considered subscribing yet, recommend you do so to keep up with some fine content coming out in the near future. If you're watching this on Twitch, be sure to hit that follow button so you do not miss a future stream. And that pretty much is going to do it for us. One more time, congratulations to Tyler Belladonna on the win here at the Pocono Raceway. I'm Elijah Leonard signing out, and we'll see you all 3 weeks at the Nashville Super Speedway. Have a good one, y'all.